Hi, welcome to this webinar, and in this webinar I'm going to do a live measurement of the Scoville heat unit of some sources from Wigga Wagga. I probably haven't quite pronounced that correctly, but I went to the Bennington Chili Festival on the weekend and I picked up some samples and I've brought them home, and we're going to do some testing this afternoon. Rather this evening. This is not all theoretical. As I say, I've actually got the food sense generation 4 in front of me. Sometimes online this is called a Scoville meter. This works alongside an app. The app essentially tells the meter what to do. The meter gives the data back to the app and you'll get the result essentially on the app in a minute. These two, by the way, are in Bluetooth connection with each other, the app and the meter. With that said, let me go back to this set of slides. So I've got everything essentially set up in front of me. Just give you a bit of a backstory on this. So I wish I'd done a slightly better job of actually labeling samples. So and I apologize if I'm slightly mislabeling samples. But let's go forward basically. So I took this picture on the stand. I took a couple of samples. I thought that maybe I was actually sampling the beast and the son of the beast, but I'm worried a little bit that maybe I actually did Furious and the Beast. So I apologise for my confusion. I might go back to the Bennington Chili Festival next year, and actually then I'm going to make it was just a spontaneous thing that I started collecting samples, and maybe I should have taken samples and labels and just done it a bit more clear, let's say. And with that said, I brought one of the samples home. I just want to say that we are doing, every month at ZP, we do a quite deep dive into the testing of capsaicin and the determination of the Scoville heat unit in things like chili sauces. The next one's actually on the 29th of August. It's actually in 2 days from now. We often do two demos, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. That's just because actually this product sells all around the world, from New Zealand to Peru, for example. So we do 2 webinars on the day, and it does include a live demonstration as well. As I say, if I slightly mislabeled this, then I do apologize, but I'm going to assume that I'm essentially testing the beast. Just to give you a bit of a backstory on this. This is the food sense generation 4. The first thing I did was brought the sample home and weighed out 0.1 grams. Now I got 0.097 grams, which is 3% off, but it's perfectly fine for this kind of work. I put it into a little vial. In fact, it was this one here, and I added 0.9 milliliters of the buffer. I actually use pipettes in order to do that, so it allows me to be accurate. So I use these little pipettes. And basically I've got my sample at that point. I then vortexed it. I've got the vortex in front of me here. It's probably worth saying that the vortex only costs about £50 off eBay. And that then gives you basically a first sample. I wasn't super surprised that the following happened, but I did put 50 microliters onto the sensor, and I ran the app. And I'll run through this now. The app actually said too high. This is not a negative. The too high means actually there's a lot of capsaicin in this. It's too high. And it gives me an action, which is dilute more. And it also tells me that the upload is complete. So it doesn't just give you a wrong number, because actually there's a lot of capsaicin in this. It's actually saying there is a lot of capsaicin, i.e. it's too high. The action is you dilute more. And by the way, we've saved the data to the cloud as well. So I was able to go online and actually look at the raw signal. And I could see it was very high. The way it's flatlined, I could also see that there was capsaicin in there. And I could also see that we were able to sort of detect the capsaicin peak. But as I say, that flat line on that first graph there tells me that, yes, it's outside of the range of the instrument. But in fact, this is what we call peak 1, this is what we call peak 2, and this is what we call peak 3. So I could see all my capsaicin peaks were actually in there. It's just the peak was actually very high, which reflects. So 1 in 10 dilution, I don't want to say it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough because the instrument said too high, dilute more, and upload complete. So the next thing I actually did was take 100 microliters of the 1 in 10 dilution. So this is the 1 in 10 dilution. I took 100 microliters of that. I put 100 microliters of that into another vial and added another 900 microliters. So I effectively did another 1 in 10. So first sample was a 1 in 10 dilution. Then I took a sample of that and further diluted it 10x, which basically made me a 1 in 100 dilution. And now I'm going to demonstrate the testing of the 1 in 100. So I'll take that used sensor out. I will put a fresh sensor on. I'll close that up. Just to make sure I've got the 1 in 100. Yep, I've got the 100. I'm just going to give this a quick vortex, because the reason being it's separated out a little bit, so I just want to kind of make sure everything's what we call homogeneous. So I'll try and count to 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Alright, so I've homogenized it now. I'm going to take a sample of this, 50 microliters. It's worth saying that all of this is detailed in the manual. The manual is actually quite thin, not because it lacks details, because actually the instrument is quite straightforward to use. I'll put the sample on there. I'm just going to test, I call this Beast 3, which is great. Go to assay. 1 in 100 was the dilution I chose, so I've done that. Start measurement, and off it goes. So this app now is essentially, there's a little flashing light on my little instrument here. That flashing light is in sequence with this progress bar. The progress bar tells me that the assay is running, and also the little flashing light on the front of this also tells me that the assay is running. Everything is going to be over in the next 10 seconds or so, and then I will get a result. So I've got a result on my phone. It's I will change screen so you can see that more clearly. This has also gone green. There's an LED on the front of this. This has gone green. So let me just change my phone for a sec. Sorry, my camera for a second. So the result on the doors is 54,000 Scoville heat units, which is actually quite hot. For example, I mean, this Tabasco sauce, you know, if I test it, it would possibly come out between 2.5 and 5,000. So this, and I'm sorry if I didn't quite identify the sauce correctly, whichever one it is, it's 10 times hotter than Tabasco sauce, which I'm probably not surprised, because this is a kind of show where, you know, people are making artisan sauces, so, you know, it's fair enough that they would actually be, you know, and if you're advertising something as the Furious, the Beast, or the Son of the Beast, or Son of Beast, then I could appreciate it's quite hot. So what I want to do is I just want to share my screen with you, because there's something really quite cool about this technology. So we get the result on the phone. Okay, great. You know, 54,000 Scoville heat units. Let me just share my screen with you. You are not, and I'm just trying to remember what to do. You are super not obliged to have to learn the science of what we do at ZP, but we also don't essentially hide it from you. The reason we don't is because it's IP protected anyway, or patent protected rather. So I can see the data. So I can see these beautiful peaks: peak 1, peak 2, peak 3. That's the capsaicin. I can see the raw, essentially the peak that we're analyzing here, and I can see here that what it's done is it's measured the peak height, which is the raw signal. It's calculated the Scoville heat units here. Here it says 53,980. I know on the app it says 54,000, but that's just because we round it to make it easier. 53,980 is exactly the same as 54,000 when you're on this particular scale. I mean, I can also see details about the name of the sample, the date at which it was done, the time at which this was done, who did it. All those kind of details are saved up here. And I can also go in and see that it was a 1 in 100 dilution, as I talked about. So, if I was to summarize, we went to the Bennington Chili Festival. We talked to the guys there. They were kind enough to give us a sample. I've actually got 2 of these samples. I'm going to make another video on one of the other ones later on. I did a 1 in 10 dilution on this sample, but actually because it's hot, it's not, you know, it's in a different league, or, you know, in terms of hotness to something like this. This I could do a 1 in 10 dilution, but this I had to end up doing a 1 in 100 dilution. And then when we did that 1 in 100 dilution, we got a result of 54,000 Scoville heat units. I'll just change the camera to that. As I say, we do actually do monthly webinars where we talk a little bit more about the science. We definitely do live streaming demos in those webinars as well. So if you're interested, please come. And I just want to say thank you. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, thanks very much.